Chapter 535, Blood Hellification. This chapter is updated by novels.pl. You are so cruel, junior sister apprentice. Yin Yu King was wide-eyed as he stared at Orange Star Emissary in astonishment. Then he shifted his gaze to where his heart was. A fish dragon realm superior transcends human beings, hence why Yin Yu King would not die instantly even after his heart had been broken into pieces. Orange Star Emissary retracted her arms, wiped off the blood from her fingers and said with indifference, "Everyone dies. You are simply going before me, elder brother." Yin Yu King's grey pupils started emitting a ray of chilling light. He clenched his teeth and said, "If that is the case, then we will perish together. Consume my body, hellfire." As Yin Yu King put his hands together, he harnessed all his strength to wield a forbidden martial technique. His blood started to burn violently, and it turned into streaks of green flames. The souls of ghost boys floating in the air flew towards him. They caught the green flames and burned with crackling sounds. The flames on Yin Yu King burned even brighter. What a strong vitality. He is still alive even after his heart shattered. Huang Yanshan was observing Yin Yu King amid the flames when she started to feel wary. Quietly, she began to run genuine chi in case she has to strike. The power around Yin Yu King's body fluctuated so vigorously that no one could come close to him. Even a master like Orange Star Emissary was forced to retreat. Zhang Yuochen had an imposing expression. He said, "If I'm not mistaken, Yin Yu King is wielding blood hellification, one of the forbidden martial techniques from the Cave of Nine Deaths. If he's still alive, once he wields blood hellification, his power could far surpass his level of cultivation. However, for this, there is a heavy price to pay. Half of his blood will be burned, and he will lose 10 years of his lifespan." Huang Yanshan said, "But he is dead now." Zhang Yuochen said, "He can turn himself into the soul of a ghost boy, then wield blood hellification. This way, he will be even more horrific opponent." Soul of ghost boy. Huang Yanshan looked uneasy and said, "Does that mean he has lost all awareness? That he is merely a ghost boy now, and not a living person?" Zhang Yuochen took a deep breath and said, "No, he still has some consciousness. Enough awareness within himself that he wants us to perish with him." Alxinian retreated a few steps back and said, "What should we do now, group leader? Despite his strength, he will not last long and will soon be burnt out. Let's go back into the scroll world." Zhang Yuochen spread open the yin-yang wooden graph and laid his palms on it. All of a sudden, there was a sound of a door opening and space appeared, suspended midair. At this instant, Yin Yu King shouted from afar and threw a punch at Orange Star Emissary. Orange Star Emissary was badly wounded, and she fell into the sea. Swoosh! As Orange Star Emissary emerged from the water, her thin robe was red, soaked with blood, and blood was continuously coming out of her mouth. Just then, Yin Yu King launched another attack on her. Orange Star Emissary looked towards the ship and saw that Huang Yanshan and Alxinian had already retreated into the scroll world through the space that Zhang Yuochen opened up. "Help me, sir." Seeing the vicious look on Yin Yu King's face, Orange Star Emissary was gripped with fear. She was terrified that Zhang Yuochen would abandon her and enter the scroll world alone. If that were to happen, she would probably die. Green flames wholly covered Yin Yu King's body. The skin on his arms was burned, and his bloody flesh and bones were exposed. Crash! Yin Yu King punched the left side of Orange Star Emissary's face and smashed her cheekbone. Her perfect face was bruising and bleeding. Phhhf. Once again, she was pushed back and fell into the sea. All this while, Zhang Yuochen was standing on the ship, calmly observing the fight. Zhang Yuochen did not like Orange Star Emissary. He thought of her like a time bomb that could go off any time if he kept her by his side. It seemed like a pretty good idea to get rid of her through Yin Yu King's hands. Blackie's voice came through the yin-yang wooden graph, saying, "Zhang Yuochen, if you save her life now, she might become of great help in the future." Zhang Yuochen said, "This woman killed her elder brother with no hesitation. Her ruthlessness irks me. But isn't that what you wanted?" Blackie added, "Or would you rather have her join hands with Yin Yu King to oppose you?" Zhang Yuochen, "Perhaps you have another reason why you hate her so much?" Zhang Yuochen knitted his brows and felt a pang in his chest. Why does he hate Orange Star Emissary so much? Deep inside, He knew that it was because he saw a resemblance between Orange Star Emissary and Kayao. Orange Star Emissary cheated on Bukion Fan just like Kayao cheated on Zhang Yuochen. Orange Star Emissary also killed Yin Yuking, her elder brother, just like Kayao killed Zhang Yuochen. The same heartlessness, the same ruthlessness, the same annoying character. Of course, this was a secret Zhang Yuochen would never reveal. Blackie said, "You need someone ruthless like her to be by your side. Zhang Yuochen, you can make her do things that you don't want to do." "That's enough. I get it." Zhang Yuochen took a deep breath and tried to adjust his mood. He looked towards the far side of the sea and saw that Yin Yuking was dragging Orange Star Emissary out of the water. Yin Yuking had one hand grabbing onto her clothes, and another turning into claws. He then pressed his clawed hands down onto her head. Orange Star Emissary had never been afraid of death. However, an overwhelming sense of fear engulfed her when she saw Yin Yuking's claws coming down on her. What she feared was not death, but karma. She was someone who never believed in retribution, but at that moment she was terrified of it happening to her. Orange Star Emissary silently decided that if Zhang Yuochen were to save her, she would never betray him. She would serve him as her real master and submit to his commands, even if it meant that she had to offer him her body. She did not want to die, at least not in the hands of Yin Yuking. Wah! After some hesitation on Zhang Yuochen's part, a chain flew out through the void space and circled 3 times around Orange Star Emissary's waist. Zhang Yuochen tugged at the chain and dragged Orange Star Emissary back to him. He caught her at her waist with his left arm and immediately dashed towards the void space. Yin Yuking was furious, having narrowly missed Orange Star Emissary with his claws. He launched another punch in the direction of the ship. The force from his palm condensed into an enormous green flame handprint above the ship. Crash! Suddenly the 30-meter-long ship exploded into pieces of fragments of metal and wood. The door to the void space closed just as Yin Yuking attacked. Zhang Yuochen was able to escape unscathed. Once they were back in the scroll world, Zhang Yuochen put Orange Star Emissary down. Orange Star Emissary's body was covered with injuries. She looked like as if she had been dragged out of a blood pool and she seemed very weak. She turned to Zhang Yuochen, stared intensely at his eyes, and said, "Thank you." Zhang Yuochen looked at her and said, "I thought you were not afraid of death. I could feel that you were trembling just now." "Why is that?" With disheveled hair, Orange Star Emissary was embarrassed, but she forced a smile and said, "Sir, it is one thing not to be afraid of death and another to be fearful. Even a person like you would have someone or something you fear. Am I right?" Having said what she wanted to say, Orange Star Emissary walked away to begin healing her injuries by first injecting some blood of wood spirit. Zhang Yuochen pondered silently for a long time, then gently nodded. He stole a glance at Orange Star Emissary's back and muttered under his breath, "I guess she's right about how everyone has their weaknesses." When Zhang Yuochen exited the scroll world again, what was left on the surface of the sea were broken pieces of wood and a blackened skeleton. Because Yin Yuking employed a forbidden martial technique, the blood hellification, his flesh and blood were completely exhumed. The bones were all that was left of him. After all, Yin Yuking's level of cultivation had transcended the bone refining to Jade Realm, so his bones were strong enough to withstand burning. However, Zhang Yuochen was curious as to why it was possible the solid bones could float on water. Zhang Yuochen treaded on the water towards the skeleton and caught sight of a black bottle floating in between 2 rib bones. As he pondered, he quickly recalled that the black bottle was the vessel that Yin Yuking used to keep 3,000 souls of ghost boys. The souls of the ghost boys from the bottle had long dissipated. "This is one of the 100 inscription weapons. I can refine this into an auspicious vase of holy weapon quality." Zhang Yuochen scrutinized the bottle and eventually put it away. Then, he started to radiate his spiritual power and soon found a medium-sized ship 600 miles away. The soldiers of the primitive world had set sail even before sunrise. Perhaps it was because they had been alerted by their combat with Yin Yuking. Zhang Yuochen followed behind the medium-sized ship, heading towards Holy Turtle Island. By noon the next day, the medium-sized ship finally arrived at Holy Turtle Island. The island had rebuilt its city walls and had a large array of island guards. It became a military fortress. In the city, there were many soldiers of the primitive world, elites from the Ministry of War, monks from various clans, and suzerains. Everyone who gathered at the Holy Turtle Island has made up their minds on going to the Bloody Trench to take possession of the Xuanwu heritage. However, the Bloody Trench was a perilous place, so most people did not want to take the first move. They were hoping that the masters of the Ministry of War would take the lead. Orange Star Emissary spent several days in the Scroll World to recover. She then followed Zhang Yuochen to the waters around Holy Turtle Island. Orange Star Emissary threw an eye on Zhang Yuochen and said, "Sir, there must be a lot of people on the island who wants to take you down. Are you sure we have to land on this island?" "Of course." Zhang Yuochen nodded.